time of the incident was 2017. Back then, there were two boys in that village. One was named Rifat, and the other was Sayem. Causing harm to others was what these two were known for. They would steal from wherever they could, who had chickens, who had ducks, who had goats, whose trees had ripe mangoes, jackfruits, coconuts, or anything that could be stolen. It wasn't that they were poor and forced to steal. For some people, these kinds of bad habits become part of their very nature. They were exactly like that. However, between the two, Rifat was comparatively more mischievous. Most of the bad ideas would come to Rifat first, and Sayem was his constant companion in these acts. At one edge of the village, there was a small wetland. At the far end of that wetland, there were nests, mainly of herons and similar birds. During the breeding season, when they laid eggs and raised their chicks, they would come and build nests there. And when the chicks grew up, they would leave. Every year, birds came there. Mostly herons, but other similar species as well. When they arrived, the villagers had a strong sense of responsibility that no one should harm the birds or their chicks. During the daytime, no one would dare to go there to kill birds or take chicks for food. The villagers were very strict about this. But of course, those two troublemakers weren't going to sit quietly. They started thinking about what they could do. The idea first came from Rifat. He said to Sayem, "Let's go catch some birds tonight." Sayem, being his usual partner, agreed. It was around 10 or 10:30 at night. They couldn't go during the day because people would chase them, so they went at night. They took a torchlight with them and started searching for a place to climb. Then they noticed one nest that was slightly separate and within their reach. The torchlight they had was a rechargeable one, small in size but very powerful. They could clearly see that the birds in that nest were quite large. There seemed to be a mother bird and 4 chicks. The chicks were also fairly big, enough to make a good meal. Rifat climbed up using bamboo sticks. As he climbed, the mother bird flew a little distance away and started flapping its wings, as if trying to stop them. But they were experienced in such acts. Rifat took the 4 chicks and came down. The moment he came down, something strange happened. The bird started making an unusual sound. It wasn't just calling, it felt like it was speaking. Not exactly like a human voice, but somehow understandable. Kept saying, "Allah will judge, Allah will judge." Both Sayem and Rifat heard it. Sayem immediately said, "Rifat, put them back. This doesn't feel right. I think we shouldn't do this. Let's go back." But Rifat replied, "What are you talking about? Maybe we're just imagining things. We're not putting them back." Sayem insisted, "No, this doesn't feel right. Look at how the bird is acting." Rifat mocked him. "If you have so much sympathy, why did you even come here? I don't have that kind of mercy." While saying this, he took out a knife from his pocket and slaughtered all 4 chicks. Sayem didn't strongly stop him, but he did say, "Don't do it, don't do it." Even while it was happening, after killing them, they put the chicks into a plastic bag and started walking back. Throughout the way, it felt like the mother bird was following them, flying from tree to tree nearby, crying in a strange voice, saying, "Allah will judge, Allah will judge." Sayem grew more frightened and said, "Rifat, I'm really scared. This feels very strange." Rifat replied, "It's nothing. It's just in our heads." When they reached near their homes, Rifat offered 2 chicks to Sayem. But Sayem refused. He said, "No, I won't take them. I won't eat this. I don't feel good about this. I'm scared. I'm going home." So he left. Rifat took them home and stored them properly so they wouldn't spoil. That night, Rifat had a terrifying dream. In the morning, he woke up and ran toward Sayem's house to tell him about it. On the way, he saw Sayem also rushing toward him. They met halfway, both saying, "I saw a dream." Rifat said first, "I saw a huge figure. Not exactly human. It had a beard that covered almost its entire face. Forehead, nose, everything. Its body was human-like but taller than normal. It grabbed me and dragged me out of the house, saying, 'I will kill you.' I was terrified." Sayem replied, "I saw the exact same dream. I was coming to tell you." They were both confused and tried to convince themselves it was just a nightmare. Rifat said, Maybe it's because we heard the bird crying last night. Then Rifat said, let's go steal fish tonight from another pond. But Sayem firmly refused. No, I'm done with all this. I won't do these things anymore. I feel like what we're doing is wrong. Whatever I've done, but I won't continue. Both of them were only around 16 or 17 years old. Rifat said, fine, don't come. I'll go alone next time. If not tonight, tomorrow I'll go back to that bamboo grove and get more chicks. Let's see what happens. Sayem clearly said he wouldn't go. That night, whether Rifat went to steal fish or not, Sayem didn't know, because he didn't go. The next day, Sayem didn't see Rifat at all. He had gone somewhere else for work. And Sayem knew that at night, Rifat would go back again to that nesting place to steal the heron chicks. The next morning, after that very night when Rifat had planned to go there again, Rifat's father came to Sayem's house early in the morning. He woke him up and said, hey, Rifat didn't come home last night. You two are always together. Do you know where he is? Sayem replied, I don't know. For the past couple of days, I haven't really been in touch with him. And last night, he was supposed to go to that nesting place to get those bird chicks. But I didn't go. Rifat's father then said, all right, let's all go there together and see if something happened. So Sayem went with them. Sayem's father and several other villagers also joined. They all went to the nesting area and searched thoroughly. But Rifat was nowhere to be found. One day passed, then two, then three, but still no sign of Rifat. Everyone became deeply worried. Questions and suspicions began to grow in their minds. Sayem was questioned repeatedly. Eventually, he told them everything, what had happened that night when they took the chicks and also about the strange dream. Meanwhile, Sayem himself started seeing the same dream almost every night. A tall figure, human-like in body, but with a face completely covered in thick hair, almost like a beard covering the entire face, would come, drag him out of his house, beat him mercilessly and say, I will take you too. When both Sayem's family and Rifat's family heard this, a deep suspicion formed among them. Surely, something unusual was happening here. Days passed like this, almost 6 days went by discussing these events. Finally, Rifat's father went to a local religious leader, Huzer. After hearing everything in detail, from both Rifat's father and Sayem, the Huzer said, I've heard everything. This doesn't seem normal to me, but let me see what can be done. The next day, after the Maghrib prayer, the Huzer came to Rifat's house with a torchlight. He called out to Rifat's father and told him to gather Sayem, his father, and more villagers. He said, bring as many lights as possible. I believe Rifat can be found. From what I understand, we need to go to that nesting place. So they all went together. As they got closer, they began to smell a very strong, foul odor, the smell of rotting flesh. It was extremely unpleasant. What was strange was that even during the day, people had passed through that area for work, even just before evening, but no one had noticed any smell before. Everyone was shocked. What could this be? Some thought maybe a fox or dog had dragged a dead animal there. But the Huzer said, no, this is not the smell of an animal. This is the smell of a human body decomposing. Come with me. They went under the nesting area, but nothing was visible below. Then the Huzer said, shine your lights upward. Let me do the same. Let's see if we find anything. As they all pointed their torches upward, suddenly many beams focused on one spot. That area became brightly lit, and then they saw it. Rifat's dead body. His body had decomposed, but strangely, his face was not completely disfigured. The rest of his body was in a horrifying condition. Some parts shriveled, some swollen, badly decayed, but his face was still somewhat recognizable. Not perfectly intact, but enough to clearly identify that it was Rifat. His hands and legs were in terrible condition. Some areas dried up, while others were swollen and rotting. That part of the body had turned black. In some places, the flesh had fallen off, exposing the bones. It was a horrifying sight. At that point, chaos broke out everywhere. More people gathered. Then they brought a man who was used to this kind of work, someone experienced in handling decomposed bodies. Such people exist who are accustomed to lifting and handling rotten corpses. So they brought one of them. He brought Rafat's body down. After bringing it down, the accuser said, "Quickly give him a proper, ritual washing. Perform the funeral prayer and bury him. There is no need to involve the police. No human has killed him. He has died because of his own actions." Rafat's father protested. "What do you mean? Surely someone has killed my son. I will go to the police. I will file a case. This is a police matter." The accuser replied, "There will be no benefit in doing that. I will explain everything. For now, arrange the burial quickly." Following the accuser's advice, everyone together washed the body, wrapped it in a shroud, and buried Rifat. Now the question remained, what actually happened? Everyone asked the accuser, "We didn't inform the police as you said, but what really happened? We need to know." Then the accuser revealed some information, things that no one had known before. He said that the night when Sayem and Rifat went to catch herons, those were not ordinary birds. At first, even he didn't know this. The accuser had 2 jinn under him, whom he would sometimes send to gather information. He first sent one jinn, who searched for about 30 to 40 minutes but returned with nothing. Then he sent another jinn, who was more skilled in gathering information. After about 20 to 25 minutes, loud crashing sounds were heard inside the accuser's room, as if something was being broken from outside. Then suddenly, 2 jinn appeared. One unfamiliar jinn had grabbed the accuser's jinn by the collar and threw him in front of the accuser. That jinn greeted him and said, "Oh accuser, why did you send this one to me?" The accuser realized what had happened, that his jinn had gone to gather information and angered the other one. From its appearance and greeting, the accuser understood it was a Muslim jinn. Though the room was dimly lit, he could see them. The accuser said, "I was trying to find out what happened to Rifat. That's why I sent him." "Why did you bring him like this?" The jinn replied, "Yes, he came to me for information. I became angry, so I brought him here. Now listen to what happened." He said, "I have 4 children, all sons. At a certain time, they come to that nesting place because they love to play with the herons. They stay for a few days and then leave. At that time, their mother also comes at night. That night, they were there in the nest. When Rifat and Sayem came, they took the children down. Their mother tried to stop them, but in that condition, she couldn't directly interfere. It's one of our limitations. And I was away traveling at that time, so I didn't know. When I returned and heard what happened, I took Rifat. When he came again that night to the bamboo grove, I captured him. I killed him. I had kept his body in our realm. I didn't even want to return his body. I didn't want him to be buried. But later I felt that as humans, his family has the right to see him one last time and bury him. So I decided to return the body. Meanwhile, this jinn came to discuss the matter with me and I got angry because my 4 children were killed. My anger is natural. That's why I brought him like this. I apologize. I will return Rifat's body the next day after Maghrib prayer, at the same place where I took him from. But the body will not be intact. It has already decomposed. And that boy Sayem, I did not harm him because he showed some sympathy that night. And afterward, he did not involve himself in such acts again. But he should remember, I am watching him. If he ever harms or kills any creature unjustly again, he will face the same fate." After saying these words, the jinn greeted and left. The next day, Rifat's dead body was found. When this story spread, everyone understood no human had killed Rifat. He was killed by the jinn as a consequence of his own actions. He had brutally killed 4 innocent jinn children, and that was his fate. As for Sayem, after that first incident, he never engaged in such acts again. He completely changed and started living a normal, good life. Dear listeners, there is a lesson in this story. Some may ask, Allah has made many things halal. So what is the problem if we eat them? Scholars have explained this clearly. Yes, Allah has made many things halal for us. But if a halal animal is in such a condition that killing or consuming it would create a threat to human existence or destroy environmental balance, then restrictions can be applied. This does not make the animal haram, it is about maintaining balance. If harming such creatures disrupts nature and threatens survival, then it should be avoided. There are many birds that are permissible to eat, but if we start killing them excessively, the balance of nature will be destroyed. Yes, if there is extreme hunger or food shortage, then it is different. But killing animals for fun, for pleasure, or for bets, when we already have food at home, is oppression. We already have meat to eat, so why harm innocent creatures unnecessarily? Even if something is halal, it does not mean we should abuse it without reason, especially when it harms the balance of nature. The story dates back to around 1973 or 1974, a time in rural life where superstition, harsh family dynamics, and unseen fears were deeply woven into everyday living. At the center of this story was a young woman named Rifat Begum. She was married at a very young age. After marriage, she didn't get much time to stay with her husband, as he worked a small job in the railway sector and had to stay away most of the time. As a result, Rifat was left behind in her in-laws' village home. And that's where the real story begins. From the very beginning, Rifat Begum realized that there was no comfort or affection waiting for her in that house, especially her mother-in-law, who, for some unknown reason, simply could not tolerate her. There was constant harsh behavior, unnecessary anger, and even neglect when it came to food. This became her daily reality. With her husband away, an invisible pressure and silent fear slowly began to surround her life. After some time, Rifat Begum became pregnant. For the first time, she felt a sense of hope. Maybe this child would bring some happiness into her life. Maybe her in-laws would finally soften their hearts. But that hope didn't last long. Just 2 to 3 months into the pregnancy, she suddenly suffered a miscarriage. The incident shattered her from within. She couldn't understand what went wrong. People in the village began whispering different explanations. Some said it was bad air, some blamed the evil eye, and others quietly hinted at something unseen, something supernatural. After the first incident, Rifat tried to be more careful. But after some time, it happened again. A second time, then a third time. With each loss, her heart broke a little more. What was even more disturbing was her mother-in-law's reaction. Normally, such incidents would bring sorrow into a household. But here it was different. Her mother-in-law didn't seem particularly upset. At times, she would even make indirect remarks, as if placing the blame entirely on Rifat. Her sisters-in-law also showed little to no sympathy. As these events kept repeating, Rifat Begum became mentally exhausted and emotionally broken. A question kept haunting her. Why was this happening again and again? Was it just coincidence? Or was there something far more mysterious hidden behind it? One evening, after sunset, Rifat Begum got into a heated argument with her mother-in-law over household chores. After losing 3 children like that, her mental state was already shattered. She was very young and emotionally distressed. During the argument, in anger, she left the house. A little distance away from the house, there was a bushy, jungle-like area. There were 2 large kadam trees there. Many people used to say that those trees were inhabited by jinn. Despite all that, feeling deeply upset, she went there and sat under one of the kadam trees. She sat there for quite some time, crying. Suddenly, she felt like someone was walking toward her. You know that sound footsteps make, especially when someone walks barefoot on the ground. Hearing that, she became alert. She thought, "Oh no, I came here at night. What if some bad people come?" She planned to hide behind a tree. But then she saw a girl around her own age, just like Rifat was at that time. The girl seemed to be wearing a purple sari. Although it's hard to identify colors clearly at night, Rifat felt she could recognize it. The girl wasn't extremely beautiful, nor was she ugly, just average with a normal build, about 5 feet 5 or 6 inches tall. The girl came closer and said, "Why are you sitting here all alone?" Rifat replied, "I'm feeling sad, so I came here. I'll leave soon. But why are you here so late at night?" The girl responded, "No one usually comes here. It's not right for you to be here at this hour. Do you know that you are 1 month pregnant?" Hearing this, Rifat was shocked. "I'm 1 month pregnant? How does she know this? I haven't told anyone." She had only mentioned it to a few female health workers, and the news hadn't spread beyond them. Then Rifat asked, "Which house are you from?" The girl mentioned a house that Rikta recognized. She thought, yes, there is a house there. There are several sons in that family. She must be one of their wives. The girl then said, you should leave now. This place isn't good. I'm leaving too. After that, Rikta left. The girl walked with her for some distance. At that time, Rikta didn't feel anything unusual. She returned home and went to her room. She lived separately, as her husband only visited occasionally. After returning, she noticed that her mother-in-law's behavior had become somewhat normal. Perhaps after the earlier argument, things had calmed down a bit. She went to sleep. The night passed, and the next few days went by normally without any issues. After about 3 or 4 days, one night someone called out to Rikta. She woke up and saw it was the same girl she had seen under the kadam tree. Seeing her inside the room, Rikta was shocked. How did you come here? The door is closed. How did you get in? Aren't you from another house? How did you enter my room at this hour? The girl replied, listen, I am not a normal human like you. I am a jinn. You people call us fairies. Hearing the word jinn, Rikta became extremely frightened and fainted on the spot. When she regained consciousness, it was still night. She found herself in the same room, but the figure was no longer there. The next night, while Rikta was sleeping, the same figure came again and called her. This time, Rikta woke up frightened but did not faint. The girl said, listen carefully. Someone will call you from outside. No matter what, do not open the door. Do not go outside. Rikta asked, but what do you want from me? The girl replied, my name is Nafira. I belong to a certain clan. My father holds an honorable position in our community. I live in this area. For some reason, I liked you, so I came to you. Just remember, do not open the door when someone calls you. Meanwhile, someone called Rikta from outside. It was her father's voice. Her parental home was only about a 10 to 15-minute walk from her in-laws' house, so it wasn't unusual for her father to visit at any time. Rikta thought, father has come, I should open the door. But Nafira insisted, don't open it. She didn't explain why at that moment, only warned her not to open the door. Her father called several times, but following Nafira's warning, Rikta did not open the door. The next day, while Rikta was sleeping, she again heard her father's voice from outside. Rikta, wake up. See what I've brought for you. She got up and was about to open the door. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Nafira appeared again and said firmly, don't you dare open the door. The one outside is not your father. She is something else. At this point, Rikta Begum became slightly irritated, because Nafira herself was not even human, yet she was stopping her from opening the door when her own father was calling. Her father used to visit at different times, even late at night. Sometimes he would bring food, sometimes her brother or other relatives would come and leave something for her. So this didn't feel unusual to her at all. Thinking this, she ignored Nafira's warning and opened the door. When she opened it, she saw, indeed, her father was standing there. He had brought something in his hand. Come here, my daughter, he said. I brought something for you. Your mother made mango pickle. Here, eat a few pieces in front of me. Keep the rest, I'll leave. Rikta ate a few pieces of the mango pickle in front of him. Then she took it and went back into her room. After entering the room, she didn't see Nafira anymore. But shortly after eating the pickle, she started having severe stomach pain. The pain was so intense that she couldn't sleep the entire night. Toward dawn, she managed to get a little sleep. When she woke up in the morning, she realized her unborn child was gone. She told everything to her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law tried to console her, but she didn't seem very shocked. She simply said, Allah didn't will it, that's why it didn't happen. Don't worry about it. And in this way, she tried to calm her down. That night, Nafira came again. This time she said, Rikta, how many times did I tell you not to open the door? Yet you still did. By now, Rikta had seen Nafira for several days, so she wasn't as scared anymore. She had become somewhat used to her presence. Rikta then asked, tell me, what is actually going on? Nafira then revealed something that left Rikta completely terrified. She said, There is no physical problem with you. The reason your pregnancies keep failing is because your mother-in-law does not want you to have any children. She explained that if Rikta had children, then the property of her husband's family would eventually be inherited by those children. But her mother-in-law wanted all the property to be divided among her daughters instead. That is why she went to a tantric and performed black magic. 7 special amulets were created, each bound with a command and connected to 7 powerful jinn. Those 7 amulets were tied around the neck of a gojer fish, snakehead fish. The fish would remain alive and move normally, but as long as it lived, and as long as the amulets remained intact, the jinn would obey the command and destroy Rikta's unborn children. Nafira continued, "Tell me, during your pregnancies, didn't your relatives come at night and give you things to eat?" Rikta replied, "Yes, especially sour things like pickles." Nafira said, "Those were not humans. They were the jinn, one of the 7. They came in disguise and fed you enchanted food. That is why your children did not survive." Hearing this, Rikta was both terrified and heartbroken. She couldn't understand how someone could be so jealous and cruel, to the point of destroying innocent unborn lives. She thought, life and destiny are decided by Allah, who gets what is already written. Why would anyone need to cheat fate like this? Then she asked, "What is the solution?" Nafira replied that she had already taken some action. She had sent her people to investigate and found that the fish was in the Meghna River. There were supposed to be 7 amulets, but only 6 were found. One was missing. Perhaps it had fallen off somewhere. They removed the thread from the fish's neck and destroyed those 6 amulets. As a result, 6 jinn were freed and were no longer bound by the command. But 1 jinn still remained. That jinn, Nafira said, was the one who came in your father's form and fed you the pickle. That is why this child was also lost. She then warned Rikta, "Stay very careful. Keep a safe distance from your mother-in-law. If she gives you any food, be cautious. This is all I can tell you for now. We will try to handle the rest." After saying this, Nafira disappeared. Time passed, about 6 or 7 months went by. During this time, Nafira did not appear again. Later, Rikta became pregnant once more. When the pregnancy was about 2 months along, one night, when her husband was not at home, as he usually stayed away due to his railway job, possibly posted somewhere around Khulna or another station, something happened. That night, Nafira returned again and started calling out to Rikta. Rikta woke up and sat up. After sitting up, the light of the hurricane lamp was very dim. She turned the flame up a little. After increasing the light, what she saw did not make her afraid, but it filled her heart with deep pain, because by this time she had developed a strong bond with Nafira. She saw Nafira standing there with her hand over one of her eyes, and blood was pouring down from it. Rikta immediately asked, "Nafira, what happened to you?" Nafira then revealed something. At that time, Rikta was about 2 months pregnant. Since Nafira and her people could not find the remaining amulet, it meant that the last jinn was still bound to its command, and it would definitely come again. So, without informing Rikta, Nafira had arranged guards around the house. But at one point, those jinn who were guarding had to leave for another task. So Nafira herself stayed on guard for some time. During that time, she saw that jinn coming again. She tried to stop it, and a struggle broke out between them. That jinn was also powerful. Its fingernails were extremely sharp and pointed. During the struggle, one of its nails struck Nafira's eye. As a result, her eye was badly injured. After that, the jinn fled. By then, Nafira's companions had arrived, and the jinn escaped. That is why Nafira was in that condition. Hearing this, Rikta felt deeply hurt. Because of her, a fairy had lost her eye while trying to help her. She felt immense sorrow. Even then, Nafira said, "Rikta, you have nothing to worry about. Inshallah, this time your child will be born. And I believe it will be a daughter. There will be no more harm. But that evil jinn may come again, because we could not destroy the last amulet. We don't even know where it is now. It fell to the riverbed, probably buried under silt. That's why we cannot find or destroy it." After saying this, Nephira her left. But later she returned again. When she came again, she said, "Ricta, your life is in danger. Your mother-in-law will try to kill you this time. Not just your child, but you as well. Come with me to our land. You will stay there. Your child will be born there safely." Ricta agreed. At that time, she was about 4 or 5 months pregnant. One day, in the morning, despite the door being locked from inside, Ricta Begum could not be found anywhere. No one could find her. People were shocked. She had mysteriously disappeared from inside the house. Nephira her had taken her to her world. However, that world was not filled with grand palaces or anything extravagant. Ricta later mentioned that in that place, the number of women was much higher than men. She stayed there and her child was born. Around 4 to 5 years passed. One day, Nephira her came and said, "Ricta, your mother-in-law has died. Do you want to see her one last time? You can go with your daughter. I will take you there." Since it was her duty, Ricta agreed. Nephira her ordered her companions to take her back. They brought her to her village. When she arrived, it was a house of mourning. Her mother-in-law had died. At that moment, everyone's attention shifted from the dead body to Ricta. Where did she come from? She disappeared mysteriously. How did she return? And with a child in her arms. It was clear the child was hers. She came to see her mother-in-law, but her heart broke again when she heard that her husband had remarried. Her husband explained that after her mysterious disappearance, he searched a lot but found no trace. Even religious healers and spiritual practitioners couldn't provide any information. No one knew whether she was alive or dead. After waiting for several years, he remarried. But even with the second wife, pregnancies would end in miscarriage. Hearing this, Ricta realized that perhaps her mother-in-law had tried to do the same thing to the second wife as well. She also heard that her mother-in-law had died in madness. She had lost her sanity before death, running in the streets and screaming. Since Ricta had returned, she decided not to go back to the fairy world. However, her child would remain in danger, so she sent her daughter back to that world. After that, Ricta lived a quiet life. She spoke very little with her husband, stayed in a separate room, and spent most of her time in worship. She also avoided talking much with people, as they would question her about where she had been. She had told everything to her husband, and he accepted it. Otherwise, people could have said many things. Her husband knew about their daughter being in that other world as well. It is said that sometimes Ricta would disappear for 7 or 8 days. Her husband knew where she went, but he never shared it with others. He understood that she went to meet their daughter. Ricta Begum passed away naturally in 2005. Her daughter was named Nephira after Nephira her, in honor of her sacrifice and kindness. It is believed that Nephira still lives in that world. Ricta's husband is still alive, though now very old. He once said that after Ricta was buried, her grave remained unusually neat for a long time. Unlike other graves, it did not become overgrown. And whenever he went near it, he would feel a kind of fragrance. Over time, the graveyard changed, new soil was added, new graves were made, and things were no longer the same. And that was the story. Dear listeners, from this incident we learn one thing: we often say that jinn are enemies of humans. But that is not always true. Yes, some try to harm us, but not all. The evil ones try to harm, but the good ones will never hurt us unless we provoke them. Even many mischievous jinn do not disturb humans unless they are disturbed first. Often, we unknowingly bring trouble upon ourselves through our own actions. And Nephira her, she cared for Ricta like her own sister. It is believed that even now, she continues to care for her daughter Nephira in the same way.